Hey guys, up here at Operation American Spring, we've bumped into Christine Sands, who has brought her Anonymobile. How you doing, Christine?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you brought your bus up here and what it is and what you do?
Well, I'm a supporter of WikiLeaks, a supporter of Anonymous, a supporter of Operation American Spring, and I've got, what I really am is I own some domains and I own this RV, and I'm just out trying to promote other people's causes. And the way I did that is, for example, Occupy, right? Great spirit, determined, and the Fed, right on. There are some things, I participated in Occupy Los Angeles for some time, and there were some things that I didn't agree with, but there's a lot I did agree with. And the Fed, for sure. She's got The Great American Revolt is one of my websites, and there I talk about the 32 trillion in offshore accounts. I talk about ending the Federal Reserve Corporation scam, and really what Operation American Spring is to me is kind of the same idea with the Arab Spring, where you're getting people together and for mass mobilization and protest. And what I believe, that whether you're liberal or conservative, whether you believe 9/11 was an inside job or not, whether you're Christian or Muslim, it's fair to say what we all agree on is truth first. Not only does the scripture say the truth sets us free, but we believe we have a right to the truth more than they have a right to kill. And you can't really do anything righteous without truth. So truth first, free the whistleblowers first. And once you get the truth, I think a lot of these divisions will fall. Now, in Revolution 101, the first thing that you're going to have to do besides get the truth is to dismantle the financial stronghold that they have through the Federal Reserve Corporation. Can't reiterate the word corporation enough, with shareholders, and we know that's been around for about 100 years. And just, if you have 1 minute in a nutshell, kind of make it easy, the politicians out here say, hey, vote for me, we'll do what you want. Well, how are they going to do it? Money. Where do they get the money? They go to the Treasury. Where does the Treasury get the money? There's an IOU. Goes to the bankers. Where do the bankers get the money? They go to the Federal Reserve Corporation. Where does the Federal Reserve Corporation go to get the money? They create it out of thin air, empty bank accounts. It's a scam. It'd be illegal. It's called counterfeit currency. It's not money. It's not backed by gold. It's currency, and it's created from empty bank accounts. And then they turn around and they magically create the currency, and then there you go.
Right. It's
in the system. So who's been collecting the interest and the principal on all this magical money? The bankers, the private bankers. So now what have they done? They've accumulated massive amounts of wealth. We're talking $32 trillion in offshore accounts, equivalent to the economies of Japan and the United States. Avoiding taxes. Romney had his money in offshore accounts. So what have they done with all this money? Well, they bought the corporations. We know about lobbyists. They built up the corporation, and they've reduced the power of the people. So it's really that the power now belongs to the wealthy and not the people. We want to restore the Constitution. That's something we can all agree upon. So getting back to the three things that I think many can. Truth first, can't do anything righteous without it. We have more of a right to truth than they have a right to kill. Second, end the financial stronghold, which is the Federal Reserve Corporation scam. Remember, income tax never should have been ratified anyway. That was supposed to be capital gains. Income is exchange, not gain. Never had an income tax until the Federal Reserve Corporation scam came into existence anyway. Truth and the Fed, and then you'll have the power to restore the Constitution and get the power back to the people. One of the biggest things that the bankers want us to believe is that when their banking system collapses, it will be the end of the world. But Scripture, thank heavens, has some history behind it. There was something called the Year of Jubilee, where debts were forgiven, slaves were freed, prisoners were freed. So I say, if the banking system collapses, there'll be no more income tax. There'll be no more having to pay your mortgages, your school loans, your credit card debts, all the things you needed to survive. It takes two people now to make a man and wife both out working. You thought women's lib was supposed to be for the people. No, it was Aaron Russo, famous documentary film producer, said it was created by the Rockefellers to get both parents out of the house so that the state could raise the children and so that they could collect taxes from the women as well. And they've been successful at that. So, there's a lot of things we can talk about, but I think what we ought to focus on with Operation American Spring is that they're led by veterans. We've seen Navy SEALs out here. We've seen Purple Hearts. We know there are people who are active in the government who are united in wanting to end corruption. So that's it. We're here to support Operation American Spring. Now again, with regard to Anonymous, Anonymous is a movement. It's not an organization. And there's no leaders. Kind of like Women's Lib, it's a movement. And so, I'm a poet, I promote it, and that's it. Million Mask Marches. Anonymous is big, November the 5th day. So that was the largest world protest, over 450 locations. I won't say the largest protest in the world ever. We know Egypt had 32 million. But the revolution fire was set. It's alive. It's spreading globally. Why? Because this is the information age. So we're becoming aware. Now, 80% of Americans don't trust the government. 80% of American adults are near poverty. 30% advocate for an armed revolution. I don't. I say the truth will set us free, and what they would love to do, the powers that be would love to have us, love to pit us against each other, like they did the Republicans and the Democrats. But we don't get anywhere with division. See? So we have to unite. But again, Operation American Spring, they may be having, conservative Tea Party, but they're active in the military supporters and veterans and preachers. Nothing wrong with that. But we can't blame them for being out here and wanting change. They're fighting for you. But unless you, Occupy, get out here and join us on the things we can unite about, can't complain. Same with you, Democrats, or anybody else who wants to badmouth this. They talked about millions being here. Millions will come, because this is the information age. This is why net neutrality is a big deal now, because they're seeing what power we have with knowledge and truth setting us free, and they want to shut that down. So what will actually spark mass mobilization? We don't know, because in many full-blown revolutions, the activists that were on the ground on site never really knew what that was defining moment was going to be. But we know this. It's coming. It's alive globally. So come out here if you believe that the government is corrupt. And again, with regard to the bankers, we call them banksters. It's the bankers who run organized crime through the CIA and control both political parties, and that's why nothing gets done. There's a book called Presidential Puppetry, and it talks about that. A friend of mine, Andrew Craig, wrote that book, and he's a Yale Law grad, a Cornell grad, and head of Justice Integrity. And half of that book is footnotes, presidential puppetry. So for those who want to get more involved in seeing how Washington is controlled by money, and the money traces back to the bankers, that resource is there for you. Otherwise, let's just get together, let's unite on truth, ending the Federal Reserve Corporation scam, and then restoring the Constitution. So that's it. Christine Sands reporting from Washington, D.C., and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Christine.
Yay!